Okay, hello, my name is Patak. This is probably the first time most of you have heard me. Hello. I'm gonna commentate over the world record Lemmings video I did a few days ago. Hopefully this will give you some explanation into how the game is played on the Master System, and just give you an insight into my thought processes and how I work this out. I've been playing it for just shy of 2 months, and the time's already down to 35 minutes, which is really good, because the fastest time possible looks to be about 33:20, so I'm only losing a few seconds each level. This first time I tried the level was a flub, because I'm playing super aggressively, but also the graphics are slightly messed up. I don't know why. Maybe because I was fooling about with the buttons on the loading screen, so I checked this out and decided to do a soft reset, of course. But because it's the first level, I'm going to play aggressively anyways. I don't want to lose a second or two. I'd rather be slightly on the point of death. So, the first thing with Lemmings on the Master System is because it's only an 8-bit machine, you've got a lot of lag management to handle. It has 20 Lemmings as opposed to 100 on the PC version and various other versions, but the system doesn't like drawing more than 10 at a time, really. And it tends to ramp up lag when you've got more than 11, 14, 15 or 18 on screen. And there are ways I can manage that. You'll see the standard technique here of holding down the 2 button on the nuke for a second before I activate it. And I failed. So let's go from the beginning. This level took 26 3/4 seconds, which is pretty good. So the first thing I'm doing is amping up the release rate, and as soon as that first lemming falls, that's going to affect when the release rate is set, which is a bit of a glitch. Now I'm starting the digging there because the nuke takes 5 seconds to deploy. If I started on the further level part of the plane, it would actually lose a bit of time. And then I'm moving off screen because explosions cost about 2 lag frames. If you keep it on screen, it tends to slow it down. That level's easy. This level's easy as well. I've just got to save 1 lemming. And I'm just bumping up the release rate to 99 to get the other ones dead as quick as I can. And this floater, you've actually got, if you see the brick on the left there, you've got maybe a half brick tolerance to set that without losing much time. There's obviously a few frames in it. But again, that's nice and simple. And this one looks simple but can be complicated because I've got to get the release rate up to 90 to 92 and set that second lemming to a blocker as quick as I can. I checked, and somewhere between 90 and 92 is optimal, because although there are 20 lemmings on screen, because they're on different Y planes, that is, different heights in the level, the Master System doesn't have such a problem with drawing them, and it doesn't have a problem with the lag. And then again, I'm holding the nuke button to make sure I set the nuke point correctly, because you'll notice I got 15% there, but 4 lemmings actually went in. It's a bit of a glitch. Now I made a mistake there because I pressed too early, so I lost some time with this. But I still set the digger right there, and then just get straight to putting it to 99. Usually they would reach the end and then come back and be right in time to get through on the first pass. That first guy came out early because of the release rate glitch I mentioned, so I have to set him early, which I've lost maybe a second and a half. I lost about 2 seconds on this level, but that's not really a problem. You know, the main problem with this sort of run 30 levels at once is avoiding death. So, in some levels specifically, I do things very safely to avoid deaths because they absolutely kill your run. So level 5 I improved by about 1/4 of a second from usual. And the premise of this is that we're going to be using bashers just to get through the pole and the brick, and then through the webbing later on. And the thing with bashers is that this little nook here where my cursor is, if I raise the point where the lemming bashes, it actually saves a fair amount of time. That one probably saves about a second, just because it's got far less animation of bashing to get through to the other side. And then I'm waiting at the crook of the web because I want to get both of these lemmings through as fast as I can to get to the nuke as fast as I can. Again, I only have to save 2, and there's a 5-second countdown on the nuke, so the faster I can get them to a point where I know they're going to go, There we go, I can set the nuke. Nice and simple. Now, one of the difficult things with this game on the Master System is managing the cursor. It's actually quite difficult to keep it going in vertical straight lines, because the D-pad, I'm using a Mega Drive pad, it rocks a little bit. You'll see I set the bomber straight away and again bump the release rate, so I get 4 lemmings to the exit as quick as I can. And the nuke point is going to be as soon as the second or third lemming crosses that point on the left of the screen. There we go. Now I lost about 1.5 seconds on this level. I'm guessing that is just because my release rate was slightly low. Because it says 86, but it may only have set to 83 or 84. But level 7 went really well. This one is actually quite complicated. Now you'll notice there wasn't a lemming came out first there, so the release rate change I made didn't affect them. What it does mean is that when I want to go to 99, it's going to be far quicker. And the 99 point is when the lemming gets to the second tier of the screen. And I've got 2 builders there just to make sure that happens. Now I set to 99. And there are 20 on screen, so there are going to be some lag considerations, but when they're off screen, there's nothing I can do about it, because you can see I've got no other abilities. So the best thing to do is just build and get them over, and set the nuke point. Now, this lag thing does mean that I actually have trouble sometimes in this level setting the nuke. So even when I hold the 2 button down, I will actually lose some time, and I lost about 1 second on it here. Because you'll see I'm mashing 2, but it's not working. And in the old run, I tried pausing there to put that on, but it's not necessary really, it kind of tends to cause more trouble than it's worth. So level 8 is precision. Of course, I've got to get down to select the blocker, get him in time, get up to 99, get the bomb set straight away, move away, because while they're on screen, they're slowing it down quite a lot. And I lost about 0.8 seconds just on that slowdown. Now 9 is quite fun. Scroll away, bash through slightly early, which looks a bit strange, but it works quicker. And again, set him to bomb and then fast scroll away to save lag. I was only 1/3 second behind the best there, which is absolutely nothing. And now level 10 is really spectacular. That mistake there cost me about 6 seconds, which isn't tiny, but it's not terrible. Because you'll see I'm gambling on being able to save 10 even though they're all falling right to the ground, but we're well within time to do that. And now you'll see the out number never goes above 12, which is really good. Because again, that's saving lag time. "11 can be quite stressful because you've got to get 10 lemmings over as quick as you can, again to reduce lag. But you've also got to set a blocker here, so that the tail, when they go to the exit, is far better. Scroll over, get these guys floating down as quick as you can. You might think it would be okay just to set them at the bottom of the fall, but it's actually incredibly dangerous to do that. I might try it once in the future, but it's Pain City, basically. Set him as a blocker, and then spam that basher in case he misses the first time. Blow him up. Now the trick here is to set a second bomber, because that will blow a hole in the one-directional wall, from which you can actually bash through some amount, which is quite nifty. It saves a tiny bit of time. When it works well, you can actually save a couple of seconds. I was 4 seconds behind the best on this, but just because of not bashing through properly, basically. And as you can see, the blocker there really saves the amount of time that the rest of the lemmings have to travel in the level. Now level 12 is evil, because you're trying to set climbers, but they're coming up on stairs, and it turns out actually if you set the climber just when he's on the stairs, he can actually turn back and you lose out. So you will notice a lot of lag on this now, as it's beginning to slow down. Can't be helped. Set 12 for safety, because when they're all bunched together like this, it's quite hard to set them all to being floaters without losing one or two. Nice and simple. And of course you'll notice in some of these levels that I'm scrolling the screen to points where the job I want is right beneath the cursor or right beneath the action area, and that does make a fairly big difference at some points. This level you just have to get to 99 as quickly as possible so they all come out. I did find a theoretical solution where you can set the first digger and the rest will come through, but it's incredibly difficult to perform. And so I decided against using that, of course, because I don't want to kill my run. Level 14 is interesting because I found that using bombers is not only slightly laggy but can cause trouble, because if you misset 2 bombers together you will end up producing a crater and your lemmings will get trapped. But because you have to save 15 lemmings, you need to deal with lag in this level. So I set the release rate to 75 to get them all out in the proper timing. And as you would expect, I get this guy to bash through straight away. Then I set 1 bomber, but notice what I'm going to do with this guy who's coming back. I'm going to get him to bash through the left hand side, which kills 3 more. So I've got the first guy climbing up here, and it's going to be timed so that he is just in time to get to the end before the horde advances. I'm on 15, that's the perfect number. 16 I need to kill 1. But from there I start setting the climbers, and if I'm slightly too fast on that, I can set the first horde lemming to be a basher a couple of times, and that will move him backwards towards the group, which really saves, as you see there. It's a really nice save strat. I did check, but it turns out that craters don't produce any sort of speed boost in X position. There's something called slide glitch, which, if you've seen my video for Lemmings in the Attic, you will know about. Because there's... no, sorry, not mine. Gronklum's, he did a TAS of it. Basically, if you've got a tiny gap position, a lemming can sometimes slide straight upwards. And so his speed becomes faster, but it doesn't work with explosions. So this level was virtually no difference with the fastest time I've done. Nice safe route as well. Now one of the death levels. This is harder than it looks, because I've got to set the 14th lemming up here, so I've got to keep count on those, to get rid of the other 6 as quick as I can. I've set 2 lemmings to be climbers straight away. They're going to go ahead, start building bridges. Scroll off the screen to reduce lag. Now get back and kill that bomber straight away. You'd be surprised how easy it is to forget that guy. You end up losing like 30 seconds, like, what's going on? I've still got a lemming in the level, no! Now set these guys 1 cycle behind, a couple of bashes on him, that's important for later on as well. And now the first one is going to build a bridge over. The second one is going to build a bridge up to be a blocker. And the point of that is not only to make it slightly easier to avoid somebody exploding those stairs, but it also means that whenever they're on screen, some of these lemmings are going to be in a different vertical position, which is going to again reduce lag. It is slightly finicky, but it does work. The main thing I found as a problem with this level is the timing for exploding that bomber, actually. And on a couple of occasions I missed out on being good by a few frames only. The same thing happens when you're mining down with this guy. You'll notice I'm lining up the crosshair with those stairs, and you have to give about 2 steps margin, because he digs down horizontally and at an angle. So if you mess that up, they'll all fall to their deaths. If you time this wrong, 1 lemming can often fall down into this trap here as well. This is all going fairly well though, and at this point I'm on a very fast time as well. Only 4 seconds extra, which is fine for safety margins. And of course you'll notice I've got 11 lemmings there. I wanted to add 1 as safety just in case, because 11 adds no difference to 10 and I can kill him anyways at the end, you know. Now level 16 is really, really complicated, because in the initial instance I just dug a pit to have all the lemmings in, but that caused so much lag it was horrendous. and I then checked and found out that simply building a bridge from here to the exit is way slower. You actually have to use the brimstone pillars. But if you don't set that lemming there at the right pixel, he will fall to his death. So set a second bridge just to be completely safe, so if number 1 fails, number 3 can come over. I get it. And then I set him building as well, because I've got a specific purpose in mind for him. Not him actually, he falls to his death, because I've only got to save 12. But you'll see that that first builder is still going on. He's going to be the blocker, and again, because we're using bridges, that's going to reduce lag, and it's going to bring them closer to the end. Now I made a slight mistake with this, because I need to save 12, and I should have just created one blocker here, and then the next one and the next one, but I gambled. Not to mention that I've got so many lemmings on screen now that I'm causing lag and slowing myself down. Oops, I've just cost myself the game unless I save one of those 2 lemmings there. So I realised that. Of course, I'm way behind now with the timings, because usually I should be near to exploding this right-hand blocker. So I lost about 25 seconds on this level alone, just from these tiny little mistakes. But I wanted to be completely safe, because it's very, very easy to mess this level up. The point of this blocker beneath is, you'll notice some of these lemmings are turning from the bomber. If they had turned after he exploded and took some of the bridge with him, they can actually fall down to their deaths. So it looks a bit finicky, but it's actually the best way to do things. Because you're in the middle of a marathon run, you want to be safe. So again, no death, that's really good. I did make a death in 17, but that's just a very tiny little problem. And this is a really nifty one. So you scroll to the left to reduce the number of lemmings on screen, and then you kill these 5, because the splat distance in this game is not constant, and it turns out they will die from this height, which is really sadistic and cruel. Start that guy bashing, create a blocker just to reduce the tail, 2 builders. Unfortunately, none of the other ones get through, which is annoying, but it works, because I can one of them mine through, and he comes over. Slightly slow, and then I bash him to make sure that... dig him to make sure that he's not going to cause lag by explosions. And I'm trying to save this here, but you can see that my bottom lemming has got through too late, and so I'm junking the level. That cost me 40 odd seconds. So that was a fail, but I'll try again, because I've only got to save 8, it's not really a problem. And the reason I put 2 lemmings through on the bridges is so that I can use one of them as miner, get him through and make sure to build, because it only takes 1 step at the end, where the other lemmings fall, to make it safe distance, which is really quite funny, because you wouldn't exactly think of that if you were playing this casually. But I spent a lot of time optimising this level, and it turned out really nicely. And then the only thing I've got to be careful of is not killing too many, because I've got 13 on screen at the moment. One's a blocker, makes 12, he makes 11. But of course I might forget that he's dying because his outnumber hasn't reduced yet. So, just adding 1 on to be safe. Nothing wrong with that. 18 is very hairy. The entire section from 16 to 23 is, but the timing on this is very precise. Because if I put that first bomber in too late, or any of the other ones, they'll walk into the fire and I'm dead. And if I put all of them so that the lemmings fall vertically for that entire section, they're dead. But again, I get perfect timing with that. He's going to come over and explode here, and as soon as he does, I set the last bomber, scroll back over, and I'm doing that because I want to check whether there's a couple of stragglers here. Sometimes there will be. It does turn out there's one. I can kill him, because he's far away from the group. That's going to save a bit of time. That went really well, but it's incredibly difficult to do that. And 19 is fun. It's actually quite simple to do once you work it out. So the first lemming goes over, he's going to create the big bridge for everyone to come past by. But in the meantime, I kill a few lemmings to save on lag. but then with the next lemmings I get out, I'm going to have them build bridges. And what that's going to do is very slightly slow the horde down, and slow them down as well, because they're going to be at risk of dying, and I can only afford to burn like 6. So it makes life easier for me later on, because I'm not faffing about putting multiple bridges on screen at once, which can also cause lag, it turns out. So there's a point where they'll be travelling evenly. As soon as he's finished this first bridge, I'll set the release rate to 99 and they'll start tumbling out. And what that means is they will arrive at virtually the perfect time without any time loss. But as you can see, I've got 17 out. I can afford to kill 3 of them. I'm going to actually kill the builder at the right there, because oftentimes he'll bump into the wall and turn back, which means I can only really kill 2. So I want to build off screen, so that it causes less lag, and because I've not got any sort of mad clicking frenzy going on with lemmings very close to each other either, because anybody who's played this game knows, if you have a bunch of lemmings together, you will actually have a very hard time selecting the right one to do the job. So I'm at 16, I kill the returner, and one bridge builder was back there, so I kill him as well. And again, that's virtually perfect. Only 3 seconds lost. "20" is really nice because I do this really insane thing where I kill one lemming by 1 bridge pixel. So I've got free time here to up the release rate without affecting it. Bridge, climber, digger, 5th brick, bye. I feel sadistic when I do that, but it works so well. Saves about 8 frames, but it just feels really good because I'm also killing some lemmings which reduce lag later on. He's going to finish the bridge. As soon as this lemming's halfway up here, I'm going to set the release to 99, and then because of that letter E, the lemmings are all going to be falling while I set them as climbers, which is going to reduce a lot of the lag of them being on screen. And I want to make sure I get all of them, because I don't want to have to faff about with setting exploders, or bombers as you people call them, because, yeah. This looks very hairy, but it's pretty well timed, it's not really a problem. And I just have to explode that one guy. If I was playing even more aggressively, I might kill a couple of these tail lemmings, but it makes no real difference. And that was really good timing, actually, only 2 seconds slow. 21 is similar to 14, in that I'm going to get one guy to turn back and bash through that pole on the left to reduce lag. Again, because explosions can actually be mistimed very easily. And then the only thing I've got to do right is to make sure I get that lemming up high. I lost a couple of seconds there, because he can actually go higher and it will save a lot of time on that bash. It's a bit weird, but it's one of those things. Quirk of the game, I guess. So I've got the 99 point at the crack point, and now I just need to bash through here, and there's a trap where that steel is. So I'm going to build over that. And that's probably going to cost me 1 or 2 lemmings, because they're going to fall onto it. But until then, I can kill a couple more. And because I know I only have to save 12, I can probably kill one at the end as well. So I'm putting him as a bridge builder there just to avoid him dying. And we've got 15, 14, 13, so just made it. And because I've got no straggler, I can just use him to die. It's very slightly quicker. Now, 22 is one of my very favourite levels. This is like, if you watch one level in this run, watch this one. This timing is absolutely insane. And it is always the time when my heart just starts pumping very fast. Because if I slip this up, the entire run is dead. So, bash through there, which is technically slower than digging, but it's not a problem. 2 bridge builders here are going to seal that entrance off, but in the meantime 3 more are going to come through. Bridge there, half a brick back, half a brick back. That timing is very important. And I set the 99 rate slightly late because of safety. And it turns out, putting multiple bridges here causes lag. I didn't realise that at the time. It cost me 2 seconds. You'll notice I waited till the end of this animation to set that builder again. He is going to come up to the bash point at exactly the perfect moment, because I'm going to build bridges in his way, and for every bridge you walk across instead of a horizontal, you lose 1 frame per piece of bridge. So those frames are critical. I set a few builders behind there as well, because they were going to come in too hot, and boop, perfect. I'd feel swish doing that, I must say. That builder I set at the end, it's my one mistake, because he turns around and costs me a couple of seconds. But the reason I'm doing the other ones as builders earlier is so that they are not coming in late, and therefore they're not going to bunch up here where I have to set builders or know how many I'm killing, because I can kill 4. So there's 1, 2, and we're across. And because I've kept that miner tool, I can use that to get him in. And as you can see, there's my 1 straggler. I can probably improve this slightly by striating when I build those bridges on the left-hand side. But that's level 22. So that's like just really swaggy, basically, you know. That was a mistake. I should have made him dig straight away, but that's okay, 1 lemming doesn't matter. I've only got to save 5, so I can be really aggressive. Start bashing early there, because it keeps him in a slightly higher vertical position, which is important for later on. And now I just start to get a few lemmings out to get killed. I'm going to keep about 8 or 9, just to be safe, because it's very easy to lose a couple over on the holes on the left. But the reason he's in this wide position here, the reason I started bashing earlier, is because if he's slightly lower, he won't recognise the crook in this wall, and he'll actually keep bashing through, and then you're trapped, because you can't get the other lemmings up without building a bridge. So that works, bash through there. And now I'm going to bash all the way through, create a blocker as a safety device, have him build over. Come on, you can do it. Having one of those guys over isn't a problem, that's why I've got a safety there, because we know they're bunched. But I made him a builder because he's now going to come over with perfect timing. Whoop. Oop, I missed. Missed again. There we go. It's not a big thing, 12 seconds lost in this level, but that's tiny. Because I often used to die on this level. I one time literally, by about 5 frames, cost myself by killing 1 too many lemmings. And I'm just bashing this right hand side here just to reduce the travel time for them all going back and forth before they get to the exit. So I've only had 1 death so far. The difficult bit comes up ahead, because we've got a couple of really vicious levels, and this one is one of the hard ones to optimise, because you can't control the release rate at all. You've just got this horde of 20 lemmings coming at you, and you've only got to save 13, but the longer you keep them on screen, the slower it is. So, really speaking, I should have tried to kill a few more, but I'm going to just bomb a couple at the end. And I get a little bit lucky here, because notice where this bomber comes off, and notice that it wasn't all the back lemmings that I'd killed. And when I scroll over, you will notice that I was very, very close to a flub there. Because I'm so smart. Ooh, that would have been painful. But that's that level done with. Now this is fun. If you set the first lemming to dig straight away, you will kill exactly the right number of lemmings. Which means you have minimised the lag in the level. You're down to 10. When they're on a diagonal like that, it's far easier to set them as floaters. And theoretically, if you were doing a task, you would want them to stay on a lower level, but it's simply impossible to keep them all in the same bunch. Some of them will go upstairs anyways. Now I actually lost 1/3 of a second on here because I used the mining tool slightly too high on that strand. But can you blame me? It took a lot of work to get that done because it was just basically a gamble on the digger, but it worked fantastically. Sega 2, nice calm level. We're 4th in the end, so just relax for a while. And this guy's going to do most of the work. He's going to bash through here, build towards the big wall to turn, build to turn again, climb up, and he's going to dig beneath the water and create a tunnel across for the second lemming to come over. And I checked the timing with this. It should be perfect, but I made a slight mistake with it. But I can err on the opposite side in future and just make it so that it's a bit safer. So he's turning around again there. And now I have to be careful actually when I set him to bash, because I've done it too high very slightly before and it's recognised it as water. Which is hilarious, but it means he ends up dying, so we don't want that. There we go. And it's about 10 bricks for that Lemmings Bridge for it to be a perfect. I should really have built another bridge here and just been completely safe, or used a few bashes once he's in the right area, but if you notice, he actually sees something beneath him and starts bashing and I lose time on that. And I have to pause because I'm near to him climbing back about the top and dying, because I'm silly. Next level is just an attack level, get to 99 as quick as you can, get them off screen, dig down. Again, it's just a very small difference in the splat difference, and it looks really spectacular, but it is quite nervous at this point, because, you know, you're playing for a world record, you've done 27 levels, 3 left. When you set 99.98, and only 99.98, it increases the speed of the tail lemmings, so that instead of every 12 frames, they come out every 8. It makes a big difference. Now 28 is painful. I've got to save 12, and the longer I keep more than that on screen, I'm going to have lag. He's a floater. He's a floater to become a blocker, because if you notice those bits those first lemmings are rubbing against, you can actually dig through those without even intending to, and your run is ruined. That white point where he started that bridge is a very precise point to get over as quick as you can. It just misses those platforms there. And you'll see already that I've killed 6. I need to actually kill 1 more, because 14 is a bad number. With 14 the game will slow down a little bit more. The cycles for animation go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but if it's 14 it'll go up to 6. So start digging through there to prepare for later on. What they're going to do, they're all going to become climbers, and they're going to climb up the brick where the exit is. Once this guy's finished building, as you can see I'm very very close to that platform there. This bit's even hairier, because I've got to time it so that not only do I mine it without him breaking the bridge connection to the rest of it, but I've got to get back down in time to bridge it and get back up before he falls off. Holding down 2 because he will turn. Now I can set these lot free, and I need to make them all climbers, which is going to be slightly difficult because they're all bunched together, but the bridge will help. Timing on this was actually really good, but there's a small glitch that happens here, where you'll notice that lemming just did a slightly weird thing in that hole, and they can sometimes get trapped like that, and you have to try and bash through. But if you bash the wrong way, they'll start going left and you suddenly have to make him into a builder to break him being a basher. This happens here. So I lost 30 seconds on this, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually just one of those things where because this glitch happened, I lost a lot of it. And I should probably have scrolled a bit better on the bridge before when I had the bunch on screen. This one, I only lost about 10 seconds. You scroll away to reduce lag. bash through, get everybody as a climber, because it's far quicker than bashing through here. And then what we're going to do is get one guy bashing through the pyramid, block the rest of them off using builders so that A, they're off screen, and B, they're all nice and bunched up. And then there's a very specific point I want to start creating this bridge at, because if you get it wrong, you end up having very little chance of success. So where that pyramid ends, just after that pixel where it connects with the ground, that's where I'm going to build this bridge. And the timing of that means that he's going to just miss the left-hand side of that upper ledge, but its distance is so small that they're all going to climb up it. And a few weeks ago I did a run of this where I was on even quicker pace, like 35-20 odd pace, and I slightly mistimed that bridge and it cost me the whole thing. So, tension. That's slightly late actually, but it's better late than early, because if a lemming hits his head on the ceiling, he will turn and build again, so you can actually use that to build vertically upwards. And you'll notice I'm not releasing all the lemmings yet, because they're all going to be climbing around, making it harder to select the right lemming for positioning for bridges, and you would be surprised how easy it is to run out of bridges here, if you make a mistake. So it's only now I start to consider that this is working and I can send the rest over. But because I'm a little bit low, I want to build a couple more times first here. So you'll see he's turned there, and the goal is simply to get high enough to connect with one of those pieces. We're not there yet. Just one or two more builds should do it. There we go. So again, I've got multiple lemmings on screen, but because they're at different heights in the level, it's not causing any lag. Level 30 should be fun. There was a small glitch where I managed to get 4 of them stuck, which cost me a few seconds, but basically you just get them all out as fast as you can, bash over, dig through, and that's the whole thing done. Now fun is easy enough to optimise, but tricky is where it gets really hard, and I've started doing the optimisations for that. You've seen a few of them, but there are some that are just really difficult to get precisely done. You'll see there I'm just like, oh, I haven't finished yet. Great. And that's all there was, so that was 35 minutes 55, which is pretty good. I should be able to lower that by another minute or so. Hope you enjoyed the commentary.